You are not disorganized or have too much going on. You're just doing too much alone and without a structure that supports the life that you're building with God. So, in this episode, I'm showing you exactly how I schedule my week as a mom, a coach, and a believer, building a business rooted in purpose and not hustle. Hey, friend, I'm Emily. I'm your Bold Life coach and business mentor. And this is episode 5 of the Start the Business God Put on Your Heart playlist. So check out the rest of the episodes. And if you've been thinking, I don't have time to build something meaningful, I want to show you how I make it work in real life as a mom of 3 kids, faith, responsibilities, a husband, a home, a dream, all of it, right? So there was a time that I was reacting to everything. Emails were piling up, homeschool lessons half prepped, businesses ideas floating with no time to land, and I just felt busy and very unproductive, full but empty. You know that feeling? And until God convicted me, here's a verse that helps you understand. 1 Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. Order isn't restrictive, it's freeing, and it allows room for God to move, for you to live life in the midst of building, because there is a real problem of becoming a workaholic or, a person that likes to stay busy without being fulfilled or actually making progress. So here's how I currently structure my week and my daily routine. So number 1, I start with daily prayer and priorities. I spend time praying, thinking about God, meditating on His Word, listening to worship music, getting my mind and heart postured right for the day. And then I write my top 3. So my top 3 are the most important things I need to get done today, knowing what is to come the rest of the week. On Sunday, I have a place in my planner specifically for the week ahead planning. So it has a Monday through Sunday page, and I just brain dump like everything I need to get done, and then I put it on a specific day that I want to get it done. So when I go to my daily schedule, and I use a paper planner because I like to write on paper, and that's how my brain works, but you can use your phone, you can use a digital planner. You want to look at your schedule, look at the things you need to do, write down specifically the 3 things that you want to get done for the day. That's how I work. And I know that if I get those 3 done, I'm moving the needle forward. And if I get more, that's gravy, right? That's going to make the next few days easier. And then I look at what can be delegated or managed without only me stepping in. So what could I, offload to my husband, or what could my kids help me with? I think of moms, because from the time that they're little, we do everything for ourselves and them. We don't realize, hey, my kids could actually put their own clothes away, right? My kids could actually do the straightening up in the playroom because they're old enough and they're capable now. So what can you delegate? And then I block my days based on kind of like the flow of what's going on and my energy levels. I know that toward the first of the week is when I'm most energized. I love what I do. I don't get the Sunday scaries anymore. And so Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I love those days. And I know that I'm just naturally more energetic and more creative and just pumped up for the week ahead. So I plan high energy days like filming, coaching, writing for those earlier days of the week. Low energy days I use for like errands, admin tasks, rest, brainstorm, reading. Like I know what it takes to be a good coach and to be a good content creator. I've got to read, I've got to keep up on research, I've got to do those things, and I do those for my lower energy days. And I plan and schedule things with my kids according to that as well. So I know what their schedule is. I know what it's going to take a lot of energy or effort for me to, say, get them to soccer practice, take them to church on Wednesday nights, like whatever it might be. And so I know which nights and times where I have more margin in my day or have less. So I can plan the specific task for those days, knowing that I've got these more extenuating circumstances, or I'm going to be really tired that day because we've got 2 practices. I've got to make dinner. We got to get home and get in bed at a decent hour to get up for school in the morning. So you just have to keep kind of what your rolling things are, and don't overload a day that's already very energy depleting, if that makes sense. So I make sure that I schedule certain things around those standing or fixed responsibilities. And that way I know I'm going to have enough energy, or I'm going to be able to give myself grace on the busier days, if that makes sense. And then the other thing I do is I schedule God time like it's a meeting. So devotion, worship, reflection, I schedule that into my week, because what you put intention behind, you give time to. And so a lot of us get caught up in the trap of, well, I just don't have time to sit and read my Bible. You probably do. You just haven't made the time for it, right? So I just know that usually I do my Bible time at night, because that's just when I feel the most receptive and like I can calm my mind down enough to actually absorb what I'm reading and doing. So I like to do my Bible time after we put the kids to bed. I do my Bible time in quiet, and then I'll probably watch a show or something and go to sleep. So I schedule that time in because it's important to me. And I know that when I don't, I feel less like myself. I feel less in control. I feel less in tune to what God wants me to do and less discerning, which unwinds me a lot. I like to feel like I'm aligned with what God wants me to do. And so I make those times intentional to be with Him. And then the other thing that I do is I protect my dream time. So this is like a 2-hour block for just creating, dreaming, and planning. You've got to have that. You can't be pouring from an empty cup, especially if you're in some type of creative capacity. Like I'm a business coach and life coach and content creator, and I have a digital course coaching business. I have to create a lot for that. And I can't do that if I'm not blocking out time to do that. And we don't realize that we need time to visualize and conceptualize and plan and pray over what God is putting into our life. So you need to block out time for that each week. So coming up, I'm going to walk you through on how I manage interruptions, unexpected changes, and how I pivot when the week just does not go as planned, because that's going to happen. So let's be honest, kids get sick, lunches don't go perfectly. Some weeks I hit 70% of the plan, but that 70% is more fruitful than just 100% chaos and me flying by the seat of my pants. That is not going to work. You're not going to be a successful entrepreneur if that's how you operate. So here's what helps. You flex blocks. So you need to incorporate those 1 to 2 hours for overflow or emergencies. Anchor routines. So morning and evening rhythms that hold regardless of the day. You know that in the morning, in the evening, these are the things you're doing. It doesn't matter otherwise. And then grace goals. Like I aim for progress, but not perfection. You're going to speak truth and have worked at intentional expectations rather than assuming you're going to have the same success as this person, or you're going to be able to pump out 20 pieces of short form content like that influencer does. You don't know what their circumstances are. You have to have an understanding, a realistic understanding of what your capacity is. I am very guilty overloading myself. I think I have a lot more capacity than I do. I have learned a lot. I'm way better than I was 3 years ago. And now I understand, like, odds are I'm probably going to only be able to do 2 short form pieces of content, like a reel or TikTok or YouTube short a day. Some days I might not do any, and I really pull back on the weekends. I used to post every single day. I cannot do that. I know that I need to have Saturday and Sunday off. And I've just given myself over to the fact, like, yeah, I'm not going to get as many views as these other influencers posting 5 times every single day. I'm okay with that, right? There was a time I wasn't, and that really kept me burnt out. But I just realized, like, this is my life. They're living their life. I don't know what their struggles might be different than my struggles. They don't struggle with posting 5 times a day, but maybe they struggle with something else. So you have to have a realistic understanding of what your capacity is, but you need to be mindful enough to build in that margin. So you need to have flex hours in your week and in your day where things can go awry and you have margin built in so you can stay on track. So this isn't just about productivity, but it's about stewardship and stewarding well. And that's what we learn about from the Proverbs 31 woman. It's not necessarily, she's not doing all of these great things at one time. Different seasons of her in her life are affording her the ability to steward well what's put in front of her in different ways and at different times. So we have to be willing to understand, like, God has us in circumstances to grow us and for us to exemplify that we can steward well what He's given now. How can we handle more if we can't handle this? How can we be discerning and be aligned with Christ if we're not following Him in this small situation or big situation? So when I give God my time, He multiplies it, right? When I walk in obedience instead of urgency, I'm more present, I'm more joyful, I'm way more effective. And Ephesians 5:15 says, be very careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Practically, a clear system saves hours of wasted energy because I know exactly where to plug in a new idea. I don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day or every single week. I don't wake up guessing, what am I going to do? My vision has structure, and that gives you freedom because then you know how to operate and you will actually see the needle move, the progress happen. So that's exactly why I created the Kickstart bundle. So if you're wasting hours wondering what to post, what to create, how to build a digital product, how to deliver the digital product, how to market it, what system to follow, what platforms to use. This bundle is going to give you a plug and play of clarity, templates, tutorials, planners, and a structure for launching what's called on your heart to launch, to actually put it out into the world. We talked about that in the last episode. You could have all the greatest ideas in the world, but that's not going to make a hill of beans if it's not produced, right? So if you missed any part of this playlist, make sure to go back and listen to the first episode. So these 5 videos build together, and we're going to have one more next week. Check out the Kickstart bundle in the link below. Grab it. By this weekend, you can have your product built and be ready for next week's video so you can hit the ground running on launching your business, scheduling your time wisely, and actually living in alignment with the calling that God put on your heart. I look forward to connecting with you. Make sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.